Welcome back to LBG Reviews. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Today we'll be talking about Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb is a game where you play as a lamb, where you are being brought in front of 4 bishops, offered up as a sacrifice in an attempt to stave off a prophecy. Now, for a game about running a cult and about ritual sacrifice and all that kind of junk, Cult of the Lamb is a very accessible game. You can enable or disable having infinite health, as well as infinite fervor. Fervor is essentially it's like your special meter for a lot of other games. The more fervor you have, the more special attacks you can do in succession. You need to attack enemies in order to regain fervor, but you can just take a setting to give yourself infinite fervor if fighting enemies is proving to be too challenging. Likewise, you can also adjust text size, text effects. So there are some times where the text in the game will be shaking, waving, doing other kinds of motions and animations. You can enable or disable those. You can also enable and disable other perks and settings that will make the game easier in a lot of ways. In the game, as you are being brought forth for the bishops, right as you are about to have your head removed, you are brought before the One Who Waits. The One Who Waits is a massive goat-like dude who is chained up, where the chains are being held onto by the 4 bishops. He tells you that the bishops are fools, and that despite them trying to stave off the prophecy, that in reality they have fulfilled the prophecy because they have brought you right to him. He tells you that he will restore your life if you agree to make a cult in his honor. There are 2 options for this dialogue. Yes, and absolutely. As you play the game, you will recruit cultists as you go on crusades to defeat the 4 bishops, and as you progress, you also have to maintain your cult, such as providing everyone proper housing, improving the quality of their housing, providing food for them, giving them jobs to do like gathering wood, gathering stone, worshipping you at your altar, as well as farming crops and doing a wide variety of other tasks. You can also conduct sermons, perform rituals, instate doctrines, and many more things to manage your cult. As you progress, you also unlock new locations to go to that will offer up other things to do in the game, such as fishing, doing side quests. There's also another mini-game within the game called Knucklebones, where Knucklebones is a form of gambling. The wide variety of things that you're able to do in Cult of the Lamb is honestly very impressive. The progression feels very smooth, very fluid. But let's talk about the main reason why I'm even talking about Cult of the Lamb. As most of the internet is aware, a month or so back, the creators of Cult of the Lamb announced that if they got, I think it was 30,000 or so followers on X, that they would make a Cult of the Lamb sex update. However, despite the clear other implications of sacrilegiousness and just other dark themes within Cult of the Lamb in of itself, of course, is rather family friendly in a lot of senses. So rather than calling it sex, they refer to the update as the Sins of the Flesh update. And rather than referring to it as sex, they have you build a love tent, and there are other sins for your cultists to participate in. There are a few obscenities and a few profanities thrown throughout the game, but beyond that, there is not really much shown off, Heck, there isn't even really blood in the game. You'll fight enemies, and rather than exploding into a pool of red, they explode into a pool of yellow or black. So I've been having a lot of fun playing Cult of the Lamb, at least a few weeks back. The Sins of the Flesh update was a lot of fun to mess around with, as well as just messing around with other aspects of running my cult. Oftentimes when I run my cult, I tend not to run it So last week in the Pal World video, I talked about how I run my base in Pal World kind of like a dictatorship in a way. In Cult of the Lamb, it's pretty much the exact opposite. I rarely, if ever, ritually sacrifice someone, unless either a side quest or other things call for me to do so. I rarely, if ever, will have anything bad done to my cultists. If anything, there's a lot more of the positive rituals done, as well as a lot more of the general maintenance of the cult being done, rather than oh yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice this guy, or oh yeah, these people can just suffer. No, none of that. I'm, and this is gonna sound silly, but I'm a very caring cult leader. But the game is just a lot of fun. If you are on the fence about it, the game does have a lot of accessibility features to make it easier for you to dip your toes into if you're on the fence, or if you're not as much of a gamer as I am, which even I'm not that skilled of a gamer. I beat Cult of the Lamb a few weeks ago. Towards the end, I had to enable infinite HP because my hands were getting sore from dodging so many attacks that I was just like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this. And really, that's all I've got to say about Cult of the Lamb. Really fun game, as I've said several times over the course of this video, but tune in next week for the Subnautica retrospective.